Hello everybody, this is Bird Brain. We're here, we are nerdy for the birdies. We're going to keep it short today, not a lot to talk about as the Eagles are back in the winning column with a shutout victory, first time since 2018, beating the Raiders 31-0. And, I mean, my big takeaway is the Eagles did today exactly as they needed to. They just took the Raiders behind the barnyard and fired a few shots in the back of their head, and that was the end of it. And that was it. They didn't do anything overly crazy. They've kind of committed to the stuff that they've been doing all season. They executed well. They weren't perfect. They weren't elite. You know, the run game still wasn't perfect. You know, they didn't throw for a lot of yards. They didn't do a ton, really. But they did as they needed to. And this was the kind of game that this team needed. You know, you think about Jalen on Monday and how rough that game was. You come back today, he bounces back 3 touchdowns. You see him really celebrating that AJ touchdown. It was just good vibes today. It just felt like a really easy-going game, especially compared to like the late window of games where all this crazy stuff's going on, teams are stressed and whatnot. Like, to have a game for once, really since the bye week, that you really didn't have to stress much about. They just got back to business. They looked like themselves. You know, is this a game that I look at and say, like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl now? Like, not necessarily, no, but the thing is that they did things that they needed to do, be more fundamentally sound, execute at a high level. If they do those things, they will be a better team. There's still a lot they could have done better in this game. Goddard dropping the pass in the end zone, just some of the mistakes in the run game, some of the stuff's there. There are things they can do to be better, right? But, I mean, the defense went crazy today. They just shut down everything the Raiders tried, and Pickett couldn't do anything to help them. And, the offense kind of just handled business. They had long drives. They killed time of possession, and they just did what they needed to do. And even when they got into situations, they got out of them pretty quickly with really effective calls. And it just felt like today that they just executed well. And this feels like a baseline of what this team can be. The question is this going to be applicable to teams of varying difficulties? I mean, you look at Buffalo, a team we play in 2 weeks, and that team, they were down 21-0, and they won today. They beat their division rival, and that was on the road. You got the Commanders coming up. I mean, they're a feisty team. The Raiders are about as bad as you can be in the NFL, if we're just being totally honest. I mean, that was not a team that was a really good football outfit today. But it was good to get back in the winning column. It feels good to kind of gain that confidence again that, hey, we can be a competent football team. We have the players. We have the skill. It was a little bit of everyone today. And for player of the game, just to wrap this up pretty quickly, I'm giving it to Brandon Graham. The veteran comes back. He's playing defensive tackle basically nowadays, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. He gets 2 sacks in this game. He almost had one of them erased due to Coop, but he got 2 sacks in this game, and the defensive line did their job. They got pressure and they made plays, and Brandon Graham kind of led that. It was good to see him back. Obviously Goddard and Jalen would be guys that I would put in the conversation as well, but it was just nice to see this team. Like, you're seeing guys celebrate after touchdowns. You're seeing like the game at no point in time felt stressful, and I felt pretty good about how they handled things. I don't even know if this was necessarily their best performance, like in terms of like analytics and success rate and all that stuff, but this was a good game for them to have, and it's a game that you can at least use for a momentum builder going on into the playoffs and beyond. Anyways, this is Bird Brain. Hope you guys enjoyed being nerdy today. Flying was fly. See you around.